It's 2:30. I have 2 pieces of coursework to do, a trip to Edinburgh that I'm leaving for in half an hour to pack for, and 2 boxes of pizza to eat. So I think now is a good time to attack Fox News. Yeah. Tapes.
Women in combat, should they serve closer to the front lines? Oh, this past week, the Pentagon announced some new rules for women in the military that will do just that. How is the media covering this? Liz Trotta, author, journalist, and Fox News contributor, joins us every Sunday at this time with the commentary. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, Eric.
Do Fox News employ their female hosts and guests purely in how smug they can look into a camera?
Okay.
But we have women once more, the feminists, wanting to be warriors and victims at the same time.
Nah, I'm pretty certain that's not what feminists want. I'm pretty sure not being the victim and having gender equality is what feminists want, but please go on.
So what is the news?
I don't know, let's go to a real news channel and find out what the news is. Ooh, but...
And the feminists have also directed them, really, to spend a lot of money. They have sexual counselors all over the place, victims advocates, sexual response coordinators.
Oh, those feminists, advocating for support of survivors of heinous and serious crimes. What jokers.
Let me just read something to you from McClatchy newspapers about how much this position on extreme feminism is costing us. The budget for the Defense Department's Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Office leapt from $5 million in fiscal 2005 to more than $23 million in fiscal 2010. Total Defense Department spending on sexual assault prevention and related efforts now exceeds $113 million annually. That's from McClatchy newspapers.
So clearly a way to solve the problem of all this money that's being used annually on supporting rape survivors in the military is for people to stop telling us to use this money to support rape victims instead of, oh, I don't know, battling all the rape culture that exists in the military.
So you
also, sorry, anally. Yeah, I've got nothing. I just can't even.
Women in the military who are now being raped too much.
Sorry, too much? What, is there a right amount of time someone should be raped?
Well, many would say that they need to be protected, and these sexual programs, abuse programs, are necessary.
That's
so
funny. I thought the mission of the Army and the Navy and Forest Services was to defend and protect us, not the people who were fighting the war.
Boys.
There are so many things wrong with that statement, I don't even know where to start.
Well, you certainly want the people fighting the war to be protected from anything that could be illegal.
Oh, look, I mean, that's a nice try, Eric. This whole question of women in the military has not been aired properly, and it's the great sleeping giant.
That is the bigger issue. In fact, the head of the...
No, wait, sorry. What? Sleeping giant? What does that metaphor even mean?
Let's talk about the Trayvon Martin case and what's going on in Florida.
Well,
right
I have a different take, Brian, on that.
Really?
But I am urging the parents of Black and Latino youngsters particularly to not let their children go out wearing hoodies. I think the hoodie is as much responsible for Trayvon Martin's death as George Zimmerman was.
So we should arrest George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin's hoodie.
Take that hood off. People look at you and what do they think? What's the instant identification? What's the instant association?
That they're cold?
It's those crime scene surveillance tapes. Every time you see someone sticking up a 7-Eleven, the kid's wearing a hoodie.
Maybe because they're cold? Because they live in the northern hemisphere and it's kind of cold?
Every time you see a mugging on a surveillance camera or they get the old lady in the alcove, it's a kid wearing a hoodie.
We're also wearing shoes and clothes and our faces. Quick, Let's arrest everyone with shoes. They're a menace to society.
Well, people are going to perceive you as a menace. That's what happens. It is an instant reflexive action. Remember Juan Williams, our colleague, our brilliant colleague? He got in trouble with NPR because he said Muslims in formal garb at the airport conjure a certain reaction in him, a response in him. That's an automatic reflex. Juan wasn't defending it. He was explaining that that's what happened when he sees these particular people in that particular place.
So basically what he's saying is, I'm not a racist, I just have an automatic prejudice against people who wear Arabic garments.
When you see a black or Latino youngster, particularly on the street, you walk to the other side of the street.
Yep, if you're racist.
But I'll bet you money, if he didn't have that hoodie on, that nutty neighborhood watch guy wouldn't have responded in that violent and aggressive way.
Yeah, I wouldn't put money on that, mate.
What about the fact, I mean, the people of New York, a couple of nights ago, they had a 1 million hoodie march.
You cannot rehabilitate the hoodie.
Rehabilitate the hoodie? What, is the hoodie on drugs?
I understand that the reaction might be overzealous or even irrational in some extent. I mean, when you look at the statistics, it may be, but you're not going to rehabilitate the hoodie.
You tried to make me go to rehab, but I said no, no, no.
Just stop wearing it.
Stop wearing it. Don't let your kid, you know the old Johnny Cash song, don't take your gun to town, son, leave your gun at home. There is some things that are almost inevitable.
Ah yes, there are apparent similarities between a hoodie and a firearm. I mean, look at them both, they're so easy to confuse.
And if he had been dressed more appropriately...
They should have dressed more appropriately. Where have you heard that before?
I think unless it's raining out or you're at a track meet, leave the hoodie home.
That's right, kids. Don't wear hoodies unless it's raining. It's worth the risk of getting shot to stay dry. Remember, hypothermia kills. I mean, personally I'd suggest an umbrella, but I mean, the police would probably confuse it for a shotgun and I'd still get shot anyway.
The minority becoming the majority at one community pool. Sharia law is now changing everything. A YMCA in Minneapolis, St. Paul is starting a swim group for Muslim girls, but special considerations have to be made to keep with their religious beliefs.
You know, I live for the day that Fox News, or indeed any media outlet, actually bothers to read what Sharia law actually is.
Now this means during the 1 hour class, the pool is being shut down, the men's locker room is being locked, and female lifeguards are being brought in. Similar classes are now starting at towns across the Midwest. We'll keep watching this story for you.
People are dying, economies are collapsing, wars raging, people being oppressed everywhere, but sure, no. The big story in the world is about a local swimming pool has decided that it's going to accommodate people who don't feel comfortable swimming with the opposite gender, and so they've set up a gender-exclusive swimming lessons for them.
And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white, but this person is just arguing that maybe we should also have a black Santa. But, you know, Santa is what he is.
I don't suppose we can get Santa on the line here. Maybe he could clear it for us. What's up? Oh, he's fictional. Right.
Just so you know, we're just debating this because someone wrote about it, kids. Okay, I wanted to get that straight. But
Fox News, thinking of the children.
Well, I think that's kind of interesting, though, to have an animal, which is something that kids love, sort of brings that cartoonish component into it, and I think that makes all kids kind of feel welcome in the process. So I see where she was going with that.
No, it doesn't. No.
Can someone tell Fox News that simply saying, no, you're wrong, is not an argument for a national news programme?
Just because it makes you feel uncomfortable doesn't mean it has to change.
I think she just summed up Fox News' stance on people objecting to white male privilege in a nutshell.
Jesus was a white man too, but you know, it's like he was a historical figure. I mean, that's a verifiable fact, as is Santa. I just want the kids watching to know that.
You know what else is a verifiable fact? Jesus, who lived in Western Asia, would almost certainly not have been white. Also, what kid who still believes in Santa watches Fox News? What kind of horrible parent do you have to be to subject your child to that? Also, don't you love how this discussion about ethnicity is purely conducted by 4 white people? And then there's the latest example, which is Bob Builder. And let's just have a look at what that looks like.
I mean, that's a nice try, Eric.